Welcome back. The Prince Eden has proven himself to be quite resilient. After the chateau was burnt to the ground and he had moved Cinderella into the royal castle in Swan Valley, he and his men, and with the approval of his father, restored the grounds of the chateau, and in its place stood a beautiful, dazzling palace. They've moved back here since then, but Cinderella has continued to feel even worse than she did before. As promised, the prince sent her in to get a thorough checkup with the family doctor.
Well, I've been so poorly for days. I keep bringing everything up.
Let's have a listen. How long have you been feeling this way?
I'd say a couple of months or thereabout.
My dear Cinderella, you are pregnant.
Lily Brenneman was immediately summoned to the palace to interview Prince Eden and Princess Cinderella on the subject of becoming new parents. This private and intimate interview method of getting the information out there that the couple were expecting a baby was a preferred method introduced by the king. He suggested that a public press conference would completely overwhelm Cinderella. This was true. Cinderella was quite poorly. Cinderella's morning sickness was so bad, she lived in a bathrobe all day. She basically spent her entire time in the bathroom. And the more she went through the cycle, the more hungry she got. She was so ravenous. She had everything on the menu that the royal cook would bring up to her bedroom. She spared nothing. The food kept coming and she kept visiting the bathroom. Prince Eden noticed the cycle, but really didn't know what to do about it. He thought to himself, it's just a phase, and whatever it is that she wanted, he made sure that it was delivered to her.
Would you like another cup of tea?
Oh yes, please. With 2 sugars, thank you.
As time went on, her eating habits spun out of control, and she became quite unhealthy. The private interview had now aired on national television, and the world watched the prince and princess announce that they were expecting a new baby. It became immediately clear that she was a role model and needed to set a good example throughout the journey of having this royal baby, as she was closely now being watched by the media and the rest of the world. Cinderella and Prince Eden knew exactly what they must do. They embarked on a new chapter of health and well-being. Cinderella began doing a lot better and got a lot bigger.
Tell me, is it a boy or a girl?
It's a girl.
Oh my goodness, this is such good news. Such good news.
I'm so happy, I really am.
In no time, Cinderella got ready and headed off to go and visit the Queen, her mother-in-law, to share the good news.
All these stairs. How difficult it is in my condition. And these shoes are killing me.
Why, Cinderella, this is great news. And the king and I have decided to send you away to a private location where you'll be taken very good care of until the baby arrives. Louisa's in the garden waiting to give you your last yoga routine before you leave, and I'll have the maids get your things together. Do remember to change those shoes.
Cinderella was completely exhausted from walking around in heels. She thought she needed to keep up appearances being part of the royal family. She was glad to take them off. It was time for a walk in the beautiful palace gardens. Inhale. Exhale. Hands together. Inhale. Exhale. Cinderella would spend the next couple of months at this beautiful rustic spa up in the hills, in a secret location that even the best of the world's reporters were unable to locate. It was peaceful, it was lovely, the staff were amazing, and Cinderella absolutely loved it, just as the Queen, her mother-in-law, had said. All her vicious cravings had come to an end. She was well-centered, she was relaxed, and her health was completely restored, and she was really focused on the arrival of this royal baby. Cinderella was then required to take a dip in something called a Laurasian petal pond. It is said that when a pregnant woman took a dip in this pond filled with these beautiful petals, that the baby, when born, would smell like roses. Cinderella had a very comfortable bedroom. She had a bed that was made with the finest Egyptian silk and cotton, and an amazing view of the white sand beaches down below. She was also very much in contact with her family and her love, Prince Eden. She had 8 members of staff and 2 qualified doctors to keep an eye on her. There was nothing for her to worry about, nothing whatsoever, but to rest and to strengthen herself for the journey ahead. While Cinderella and her bump were getting the royal pampering that they deserved, the prince and a close group of friends organized a beautiful baby shower. As soon as they were all set, Cinderella was whisked away to the beautiful location, and she had a marvelous time. Friends, family, loved ones brought beautiful presents. It was small, it was intimate, and she had a beautiful time with her friends at this stage in the pregnancy where she was so big she couldn't even breathe. And once again, she was wearing a pair of high-heel shoes. I must say she wore them quite well, and she was having a lot of pictures taken and some family videos. This would make up a nice family album for the future, just to remember what the days were like when she was this heavy.
Oh, that feels really nice.
It was a beautiful baby shower, and Cinderella had spent quite some time on her feet. When she got back, her handmaiden gave her a beautiful back rub. It was just what she needed. She felt as though she was bursting at the seams. She was heavier than ever, and ready to pop this baby out.
Oh, I do hope I feel a lot better after this. I simply can't take it anymore.
This just in. The Princess Cinderella has been admitted into Joy's Hope Memorial Hospital. It is reported that the princess is 2 weeks early, and our thoughts and prayers are with her as she goes through the delivery of the royal baby.
Dr. McCain to Operating Theatre 1. Dr. McCain. Cinderella couldn't take it anymore because she was definitely ready to have the baby. She was admitted, and as soon as the prince arrived, the staff got ready and assisted her in the delivery of the royal baby. The Princess Cinderella and the Prince Eden are pleased to announce the birth of their beautiful bouncing baby girl, Susan Lithgow. Cinderella was so tired she fell asleep, and the staff were amazing in taking care of the child. A day later, the princess was taken back home to the palace, and the baby was situated in a beautiful nursery and was well catered for. Princess Moya's mother was relentless, and she went to seek out the help of an ancient wizard to see if she could in any way harm the royal family.
In all my years of practicing sorcery, I have never known evil to have overcome good.
I've completely wasted my time.
She then sought the help of the swamp ghosts.
You can try by the power of my one eye, but I tell you, evil never overcomes good.
Never.
Nonsense! There must be a way. Indeed, there was no way. Evil would never overcome good. And the prince and Cinderella had a very good thing happen to them. Susan Lithgow was a very special baby. She brought them closer together. They became a unit, a strong force to be reckoned with. It is said that a threefold cord is not easily broken. Eden was so glad to be a father. Cinderella was so proud to be a mum. They would spend hours in the nursery, taking turns, looking after her, chatting away, playing with her. Their meals were brought up to the nursery. They would read their books in the nursery. They simply would not let her out of their sight. It was quite a new development in their lives, and they welcomed it with open arms. They certainly did. At night time, they would rock the baby to sleep, and Eden would have a lovely drink. And when the baby had fallen asleep to the sound of her mother's beautiful voice, Prince Eden and Princess Cinderella would sit down to a beautiful glass of wine. Indeed, I can tell you, from this point on, they lived happily ever after.